Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. It's Niall, and I'm delighted as always to be joined by Gregory Doyle. And we're here for a bet and tip show. I always enjoy these, and it's a big one, literally and figuratively a big one. It's Deontay Wilder versus Zhilei Zhang. This coming Saturday, of course, headlining the huge Matchroom versus Queensbury 5v5 show in Saudi Arabia. And yeah, this is one I'm really looking forward to. Gregory, I hope you're well. Let's jump in. I'm very curious actually to see what you have here because we were speaking just briefly off camera. It's a real tricky one to find value in. The biggest value here is probably a points, towards points, but I don't think anyone is expecting this to go all the way. A knockout is guaranteed, and there's not going to be a big kind of value in the KO for either man. So let's jump into it. I'll let you take the floor. What betting tips or tip have you found for Deontay Wilder, Zhilei Zhang?
Yeah, thanks, Niall. It's good to speak to you as always. It's a tough fight to kind of try and call. The reason being is because I firmly believe people seem to forget when fighters go through a bad time, etc. I think in a one punch basis, Deontay Wilder might be the hardest heavyweight punch in history. I really do. I think he's really up there, Niall, but he's kind of tailored off a little bit. He didn't look great against Parker, but they always say the last thing you lose is your punch. And that's the one thing that I suppose he relies on. It's an interesting fight because both guys they're coming off of losses. Um, I do think that Zhang is a slightly, well, not slightly. I just do believe he's the more decorated fighter. He was an Olympian. I know that Deontay Wilder done okay. I think he medalled in the Olympics as well. But Zhang was like a proper. You could tell Zhang had like the technical ability when he was
Yeah.
coming through in the amateurs. Whereas I think Deontay, with the greatest respect, he's always been known for his sheer power. So based on that, Niall, I've tried to tally things up, and I looked at the last fights. Now we can't really compare Joseph Parker and Zhilei Zhang to Zhang fighting Wilder because they're completely different. Um, Parker went into that fight to pot shot Zhang, hurt him, and get out of range, move, slip. Wilder's not going to do that. And I think when you fight somebody like Zhang, you do have to move. And I don't see him doing that too greatly. So looking at that now, the betting tip that I've come up with, and it's a tough one, but we try and look for value for the viewers as well. And for rounds 1 to 6 for Zhilei Zhang to stop Deontay Wilder, that's currently sitting at 9 to 4. I think that's good value for rounds 1 to 6 because I don't think this is a fight now that it's going to take long to catch fire.
Hmm. Yeah, no, it is. It is a great point. I think it's going to be an absolute kind of firefight, while it lasts. And as I mentioned, somebody is guaranteed to go here. So I do think that is great value, to be honest with you, and early would be good value as well. So I really like that. I think there's good value there, to be honest with you. That's a great show. In terms of myself, my own betting tip, a prediction for this one for me, I just think Zhilei Zhang is gonna do it. I think he's too, as you mentioned there, he's too kind of decorated and too technically sound for Wilder, but also I just can't get that last Deontay Wilder performance out of my head against Joseph Parker. He looked really poor. He tried to become this boxer, this kind of conservative boxer, but also he he admitted himself in the post-fight interview, which I found really strange, that he's basically done. He's basically done what he needed to do. He's made his money, and he's not as passionate as he was about it before, which I don't think is a good sign for any fighter. Well, especially if you're continuing to fight. I would have liked to see him walk away after he fought Joseph Parker, following that performance and those comments. So I'm picking Zhang, but that being said, we spoke off camera again, and the power is the last thing to go. You said it yourself, and Deontay Wilder is one of, if not the biggest puncher in heavyweight history. So would it massively surprise you to see Wilder do it? No, it wouldn't. All he needs is the one. So the betting tip I had was kind of similar to yourself in that I'm going for an early shout here. The fight. I found a really interesting one. The fight to end in rounds 1 to 3, you can get at 7 to 2, which I found really fascinating. No
Yeah,
particular winner here, although I'm picking Zhang, but I just can't confidently bet against Wilder for
yeah,
just for the power aspect alone. So I'm going for that one. I think it has a real chance of ending early here. It's going to end before the distance, so I'm going early. 7 to 2 for rounds 1 to 3. Either man to win in rounds 1 to 3. It doesn't even have to be the first round, So I just think the first 3 rounds, Deontay Wilder and Zhilei Zhang, the fight to end at 7 to 2. So yeah, a couple of good tips there for us both. We have Zhilei Zhang rounds 1 to 6 at 9 to 4, was it?
yeah,
And the fight to end in rounds 1 to 3 at 7 to 2. So I think that's where we see the value here. To be honest, a couple of good tips, if I may say so myself, from both of us. Before we go, I'll ask you one question here, and I'll pull up the odds, as Elliot Stott likes to do. If you had to pick one particular round, I know you said the 1 to 6 range. If you had to pick a particular round for this fight to end, and Zhilei Shank to stop Wilder, what are you going for? And I'll give you the odds here.
yeah. I think we had a bit of a play around with it in the group today, and a fun
Yeah.
aspect. Just everyone picking a different round just for the sake of it, I suppose. And you get to that way, you don't want to pick the same round as someone else.
Yeah,
But really, for me, round round four jumped out at me. I don't know why round four really jumped out at me, and I just thought it could be a feeling out process for 1 or 2 rounds, and then the bombs start going, and then if you're throwing big shots, someone slows down, and round about 3 to 4 could be when it really takes off. So I think round four, if I was saying so.
round four, where I'm checking here, you can get 13 to 1 on Zhilei Zhang in round 4. So that might be worth a go. So who knows?
Yeah.
As you mentioned, we
What about
did
yourself?
we did kind of we did have a little sweepstake in the group today, and I
Yeah,
said Zhilei Zhang round 2, and I was influenced by the kind of 7 to 2 shout that I gave.
yeah,
Although looking at this, like you think to yourself, Deontay Wilder, the kind of the earlier stoppage kind of favors Wilder here, I'd say. I don't know if you'd agree. If it's a Deontay Wilder KO, it'd probably have to be early. I think the longer they go, the favor Zhilei Zhang. But I'll pick round 2, 18 to 1. You can get for round 2 stoppage. So if it does end early, might throw 1 or 2 quid on that. So.
yeah.
That's our betting tips for Deontay Wilder and Zhilei Zhang this Saturday night. Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, headlining the huge Matchroom versus Queensbury 5v5. Let us know what you think in the comments. Do you like our tips, or let us know what you're going to be putting your money on? Something that we maybe haven't seen yet. A little sneaky bet on this one. As always, don't forget, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the YouTube. Always great content coming up. Follow all social media, always interviews, previews, reviews, predictions, that sort of stuff, especially with the stack boxing schedule coming up. And Gregory, thanks for speaking and take care.
Thanks, Niall. Great to speak to you as always.